So if you guys are interested in poison dart frogs or arrow frogs, I'm going to be upgrading my frogs enclosure today, so make sure you guys stay tuned to check it out.
Here we go again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. Ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Host Sway from Host Sway's Exotics, and if you're new to the channel, we make videos about reptiles and amphibians and how to take care of them. So if you're interested in learning more about these creatures and all my little pets, consider subscribing. So before we get started with the whole setup and everything, I want to give you guys a little bit of background information about the actual poison dart frog. So the scientific name for these guys is Dendrobates tinctorius azureus, which is a specific one that I have, which is the blue poison dart frog. These guys are also commonly called poison arrow frogs. These guys come from more or less the southern part of Suriname and northern Brazil, from the rainforest area around there. And these guys are medium-sized frogs that can grow up to 3 to 4 centimeters. These guys have a typical lifespan of around 5 to 7 years, and they're highly noticeable by their very bright blue skin. This coloration among these frogs is a typical warning sign to warn predators that they are poisonous or dangerous and harmful to eat. That's why these guys are going to be one of the most colorful frogs in the world. They can come from yellow, black, blue, green, and pretty much any color, you name it. Alright, so for the first part of this build, we gotta go ahead and get in here and clean out our enclosure just a little bit and make sure we're going to have a clean surface to work with. After we clean it out, everything should be pretty much good to go. This is pretty much a brand new one. I don't know where this stuff came from in here. Probably just from like water or something. So we get all this cleaned out, and our next step is to go ahead and add our drainage layer in. Alright, so after we got our drainage layer down here, I know it looks like there's a couple of leaves in here. I'm just reusing some old drainage layer that I had beforehand, and we're going to use that to actually make this one up. So we got some screen here. This stuff really doesn't have to be perfect. This one was an old piece that I had also before. I'm just going to reuse it. Because it all works the same. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. So as far as substrate's going to go, we're going to use a mix of a couple different things. So I actually went out and I got some Eco Earth, which is supposed to be a really good substrate for dart frogs, and we're going to probably use this whole bag in here. If you guys don't know, Eco Earth is a very good substrate. It's all natural substrate made from cocoa fibers, cocoa husk, and it's very good for plants. It feels just like dirt and pretty much powder free. So we're gonna get that spread out, and I also have here some Terrarium Moss. We're going to mix in with this soil to help give it a little bit more humidity. But beforehand, you got to wet this moss up and get it good and soaked. So with this, I'm going to leave it a little bit wet. We're going to dump that whole bag in here. We're going to mix some of this in here as well.
And this is going to help create some hydration for the soil and create good substrate for the plants and everything else that's going to go in here. What we're also going to do is we're going to spray this dirt down and go ahead and moisten this up as well. And all the water that I'm using, I've also been using Reptivite. I'll put a picture on the right side of the screen for you guys. That way we make sure the water is going to be good and clean for all your animals, really. We're going to spray this down. Spray it. Keep on spraying. As you can see, this stuff holds in a lot of moisture. Last but not least, we're probably going to add a little bit of cypress mulch bedding. This stuff is real good for tropical species of any kind of reptile or animal. This will give the soil a little bit more substance. And this stuff is also real good at keeping humidity and stuff up in your enclosures. Once we get this good and mixed up, you'll see the difference with the moss in here, cypress mulch bedding, and everything else. Decor. So we can clean off some of this excess off the sides, push that back down, voila. And as you guys like to know, I like to try to get plants that are native to the same region as a lot of places as the animals that I get, and these guys are definitely from South America. Let's figure out where I want to plant these. Here. Grow out up here.
All around this empty town, we're searching for the lost and found. But you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Alright,
so to add a little bit more aesthetic decor, Put another plant here up front, and also have this little cork log here. You can put somewhere they can hide under. Same as like this log right here. I'm also thinking of maybe, look at this one as well. Throw that over there. Maybe give them something else they can kind of hide over. So last but not least, we're probably going to put some more moss over the top of this and finish that off. So the last thing we got to do is we're going to mist down the enclosure one more time just to make sure everything is good and hydrated before we put our actual frog in. And I'll give you guys close up to that. So now we got everything good and moistened down, we'll go ahead and add our little frog in. To finish up building the new enclosure for the dart frog, I put a humidity gauge and temperature gauge back here in the back, and we're going to move on to the next part for keeping the humidity level up for these guys, since they're known to want to thrive in 100% humidity level, which is going to be hard unless you have some kind of misting system or something like that.
So to help with the humidity of these guys, since as I mentioned before, they like to thrive in 100% humidity environments, I purchased a Repti Fogger, which is a humidifier, which is going to actually help to keep the humidity up without causing a lot of excess water and other things like that. That way I can just water the plants no more. So to set this up, we're going to be cutting a small hole to actually put the vent tube for the humidifier inside of the actual enclosure here. And we're going to plug it up, fill it up with water, and see what it does.
So we got the Repti Fogger, and the very first thing we need to do is we got to make sure that we actually got a hole cut in our screen top, so that way we can make sure we can fit our hose down inside of it. That's just going to slide down in there, simple as easy. I may silicone that up, that way we can make sure the frog doesn't get out. So you do that. And the only thing it really comes with is the pipe, the actual unit itself, the bottle, and the cap for the bottle. So once you fill it up with your dechlorinated water, you screw this on, and pretty much it's going to cause it not to leak out of it. It's a sealed bottom, and you stick that in there, and pretty much you plug it up, and your hose is going to go on this end. So let's go ahead and put that onto the actual enclosure and see what it looks like. And turn it on too. Alright, so we got a Repti Fogger over here on the right, and we're going to go ahead and put our tube in up here at the very top. Slide this in. And you can adjust this tube however long you need it, make it longer or shorter. Make it a little bit more convenient for you. And we're going to plug this guy up. Luckily I have an outlet here. And we'll give it a few minutes and see what it does.
Tell me why you wanna end. Was he really just a friend? Cause it's playing in my head every word that you said. I ain't worked it out yet. So why do you wanna end? Was it real or just pretend? If there was any sign that our love was in decline, I would have begged you not to go.
So I also added a couple other things to the enclosure. I also added one of my other skulls I had in there, and I'm going to also put a water dish in there. For dart frogs in particular, you don't necessarily have to use a water dish because they get a lot of their water through their environment, and that's the reason why you need to keep the humidity up. But offering them a water dish will also help to aid in keeping humidity in the enclosure, so it's definitely not a bad idea. So if you guys know anything that I can do to better my husbandry for my actual dart frogs, please tell me down in the comments and tell me what you guys think of the whole enclosure setup. Should I move some things around, or what do you guys think? Also, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button down there. It definitely helps with the analytics for the videos. And if you guys would like to see some more of my videos, I'll go ahead and post some on the right side of the screen, so you can go check that out. But thanks for watching, and I'm Host Sway from Host Sway's Exotics.